Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're over here on the Japanese side of the game for the new KIZUNA versus the Don Krieg Pirates, I guess. So in today's video we will be taking a look at what the stages of the new KIZUNA do, the teams that I have sort of put together that don't use the boosters. We'll have a chat about the stages. There is a super boss, so we will be talking about that as well. And sort of giving you guys a rundown of how to take down this particular event and what characters are going to be good. And what characters get boosted and stuff like that. I do have a one team beats all for you guys as well. That doesn't include the buggy or the Kuro. So if you guys did some summons for those units, try and include them somewhere on the team, because that way you guys will get a lot more ticket growth. So that way you can do a lot more super bosses. So all the information's in game here. But big shout out to our Discord and big shout out to the subreddit Discord for the information provided over here on the right hand side. If you have a kind of look here, I don't know if this is bringing it up properly, but all of the information is kind of like, this is what the stages do. If you can read Japanese, awesome, I appreciate you. But if you can't, you're kind of like me, then you're going to need this information. So we're going to talk about the first variation. So the first variation is the top left, and on stage 2 you get your driven cerebral powerhouse characters cooldowns, and there is paralysis and a HP cut. So you need to bring someone to get around paralysis on this particular stage. On stage 3, there is attack down, increased defense, and then after a certain HP, or level 30, your left-hand column will get binded. Now, before we do jump into the teams, I do want to give a bit of a disclaimer. We're not 100% sure what colors the super bosses or the bosses actually are, so these teams may be subject to change, but we do have a bit of an assumption, so these teams are just from my assumption, that still satisfy the driven cerebral powerhouse sort of situation, and we have an assumption of what these colors will be because of what the super bosses actually do with the new characters that have released. So with that said, the first team that I do have for you guys, well, the first team for the first variation, is a powerhouse build team centric around the leader of Lucci. Now we will be bringing a friend Katakuri for this particular fight, so that way we have the super class of Katakuri as well. Katakuri's super class is great. It's probably the easiest to proc with the new superclass units, because you just need to use 4 specials. We have Lucci here to get around the defense up. We have an attack booster with and Lucci's an orb booster too. His super type as well. Yep, super type will like increase that orb boost to a 2.8 as well. Katakuri will be the designated attack booster as base stats. After you use the Katakuri and the Lucci special, you want to then pop the Hody special to remove the bind on the left hand side once that does come around. Don Krieg and Jin is a chain booster, which is great. He's going to remove the paralysis as well. And then we have Mr. What's his name? Kaido. Now, Kaido on this particular team is replaceable with something like Sugar. Now, Sugar's not going to get boosted underneath Lucci, but will get boosted under won't get boosted under, wow, words are hard today, Lucci or Katakuri, because she's not a powerhouse character. But if you put her over here like this, you can get around the bind mechanic with her as well. The downside is that way you'll get the attack boost from Hody. So it's a little bit of a yikes with that particular stage where you do get the bind. But with Sugar and her bears, you can get around the bind that way as well. You don't really need the Don Krieg special because you're using, not the Don Krieg, the Don Jin Jiao special, because you are getting around the paralysis that way. So I guess that you could easily do some shenanigans like this and then not worry about the bind at all, and then just replace Hody with something. That is another option for you guys. But as I mentioned, if you do have the Kuro and the buggy, you do want to try and include them somewhere on the team. The buggy and the Kuro are actually 5.25 times captains for this particular fight. I think the information for that is up here. So the buggy and the Kuro are going to be a 1.3 times ticket booster, as well as 1.25 extra super boss coins, and their attacks are super effective against all types. The buggy's captain will be a slasher driven captain, while the Kuro will be a cerebral driven captain. So for this particular team, it's a little bit tricky because like there's not a lot of cerebral driven characters on this particular team. And for my particular team, I will be sort of tweaking it a little bit to try and satisfy that. But you do want to try and bring a friend captain if you can. Otherwise, you will just be sacrificing a few tickets. But this team should work very, very well moving forward. It shouldn't have too many issues. The Don Krieg, I keep doing that. The Don Krieg is the what's it called? The Kizuna that we're actually doing. But the Buggy and the Kuro are great because they can remove attack down, block and badly matching orbs, and then they do color affinity, which is really, really nice. That's the Kuro. And the Buggy is going to give cooldown as well as remove threshold and increase defense. And then will be an orb booster, which is really, really nice as well. But the downside is you just have to sort of build cerebral-driven teams with them, or cerebral slasher teams with them, as their captain abilities aren't rainbow captains, which is very, very annoying. They basically just get around all of the final stage stuff, really. So if you have them, they're great to get around the final stage stuff. Besides blind and stuff like that from what I can see here. So they're good, but they're not amazing per se. Alright, so taking at the next stage, we come up against Krieg once again, and this is for like the top middle, so this is the second fight. The cooldown reduction is for strength, dex, and quick type characters. On stage 2, they're silent, so this is where we kind of presume that Dofi is really good for this. And on stage 3, threshold, badly matching orbs, and then after stage 30, you get despaired as well. So the team that I have put together for you guys looks a little bit like this. We are running a Dofi captain, and with this particular team, you can actually bring a Buggy friend captain, or you can bring a Kuro friend captain, because they both boost driven, right? Which works really, really nicely. That way you can get a lot more tickets. But this team should do a lot of damage. We get around the despair with Caesar. We have an attack booster with our fire tank pirates, as well as getting around the threshold. I'm pretty sure, or the damage reduction. The damage reduction. Then with Kid, we can get an attack, an orb boost, and a color affinity boost. That way, Dofi can rotate those badly matching orbs, be a base stat booster and a chain booster. And then with Sugar, we can turn everyone into bears and just do those chain shenanigans with the chain boundary effect that Caesar also provides. So this team should have a lot of damage. I don't see this team having many issues at all, to be honest. And it basically just covers everything super nicely. It is a strength, dex, and quick team as well, because you are utilizing Capone in his dex variation to start with. Another really, really good thing about the update is that you can actually access that as well to make sure you get those cooldowns. So this team is not going to have any issues whatsoever. Bring a Kuro, bring a Buggy friend captain. It's not going to matter. You're going to get those ticket growth, and this team basically just covers it all for you, which is really, really nice. So, like I said, we are presuming that Dofi is going to be really good for this, but we're not 100% certain because we just don't have all the information for the colors. But this team is going to do numbers, it's going to do work, and it's going to give you a lot of tickets. Let's move on to the final variation now. And for the final variation, we are getting our cooldowns for driven, cerebral, and free spirit characters. On stage 2, there is % damage reduction. On stage 3, there is a HP cut, special rewind, special cooldown lock, full ward of block orbs, and after level 30, you get the chain dependent attack down as well as a chain down. So this is where we believe Croc is going to be really, really good for this. So we are predicting that the color will be quick. So you do want to try and build around a dex-based team to try and take this stage down. And you really want to make sure you bring your driven, cerebral, and free spirit characters. So the team I put together is obviously led by Croc himself. He is very, very good. And because it is a cerebral-based team, you can bring the Kuro as a friend captain. The Kuro is a cerebral 5.2 based booster. So that should work very nicely. Croc's an attack booster. He's also a chain coefficient unit. We have Vivi Rebecca on the team to remove the... I'm pretty sure to remove the % damage reduction that is on stage 2. Yeah, to remove the % damage reduction on stage 2. I think I said there was % damage on the previous turn. I was incorrect there. That was threshold, but never mind. So Vivi Rebecca is great because they can get around the % damage reduction on stage 2. They will then go into their dual form. You can use them as their switch to get color affinity. What's it called? Chain lock as well. They will give color affinity on that stage. Whether or not it's good or not is a different story. But look, it is what it is at the end of the day. They're going to remove the % damage reduction, but they're also going to trigger the super classing for Croc, which is great. We have a chain booster with Stussy. Stussy's another option to get around the % damage reduction as well, but her chain boost was probably going to be a little bit nicer on the final stage. Or utilizing the color affinity of Vivi Rebecca on the final stage may be better as well. So we'll figure out what does more damage, whether it's the chain boost or if it's the color affinity. I feel like it's going to be the color affinity. Just because you get 2 times color affinity on that stage. And then you could use something like this support from Mr. 1 to get a chain boost on Croc as well, which is going to be really nice. Law's going to give us a bigger attack boost to our quick base characters, which should be really, really nice. We want to do something like that as well. dex-based characters, sorry. So we want to use him before we use Croc. That way we just get a bigger attack boost. We have chain shenanigans with Sugar, as you guys know. She's an absolute weapon when it comes to Kizuna. We are going to get the chain down as well, so that's another option. So I think that, yeah, definitely using the color affinity is going to be better. And then with Kuro as a friend captain, you're going to get a lot of more tickets as well. So, as I mentioned, if you have Kuro and Buggy, slap them on the team here somewhere as well. You can easily replace Law, you can easily replace Sugar. You are going to do less damage, but it's not going to matter because, like, you just tweak the team as you get higher and higher up. And you really want to just include those characters somewhere on the team, as they are just very, very good. I do have a one team beats all if you guys are looking for this as well. It is led by Dofi, and then you can bring a friend Kuro, as this whole team is driven, or you can bring a friend Buggy, as this whole team is driven as well. We have our boy, what's his name, Dofi, to get around the special like cooldown, because we have a full driven team. We can use his super class to get around that, because we have Caesar on the team. And he's going to be our orb manipulator, as well as an attack and an orb booster if we need. Croc can get around the attack down and the defense up, as well as be a color affinity booster. Orochi can get around the blind and the paralysis. We have Fire Tank Pirates who can get around damage reduction and threshold. And then we have Caesar who does the despair and the chain boundary effect for this level 30 plus. So this team should do numbers. Like, this team's not going to have any issues moving forward. If you can find a way, like, I think, which one? The Buggy was an orb booster, I'm pretty sure. If you can bring a Buggy as your friend. Yeah, the Buggy amplifies the effect of orbs to slash from driven characters by 2 times. And yeah, so the Buggy's an orb booster, right? So if you can bring Buggy as a friend captain and get the carryover of the orb boost, you can then use Dofi to not only rotate your orbs, but be a chain booster, as well as a base stat booster as well. So this team's going to do some pretty nice things. It is driven-centric, obviously. Strength, Dex, and Quick characters get their cooldowns on the second variation, and then Driven get their cooldowns on, say, on the first and the third. So this team's going to do really, really nicely. I don't see this team having any issues for any of the stages. It's not the team that I'll be using, because I have Kuro, I have Buggy. I am going to throw them on the team as well. The Kuro and the Buggy, as I mentioned, they can remove the increased defense and threshold, as well as cooldowns. And they can also remove block and badly matching orbs and attack down. So, like, I'm going to have to tweak the team, like, significantly for myself. But for you guys that didn't do any summons on this Kizuna banner, this team is the team that's going to be rocking it for you guys. Yeah, it's going to have to be tweaked quite a bit, to be honest. Because, like, I'm going to have to take off the Croc to get the attack down with Kuro, and then I'm going to have to do some stuff with the increased defense. It also depends on how big that increased defense is as well. We do need to get around paralysis still as well, so there's that option. There's that as well. So the one team beats all will need some significant tweaking when it does come to bringing those particular units as well. But stay tuned for the playthrough video for that one. Let's move on to the super bosses now. Alright, so let's take a look at the super bosses. So the first super boss, driven cerebral powerhouse characters get their cooldowns. On stage 2, there's a HP cut. The enemy becomes a super typing on stage 3, and then there's badly matching orbs. Now, this is where we believe that Katakuri is going to be really good for this. So we are predicting, that the super boss will be strength. That's for the first super boss. That's what we're predicting anyway. For the middle, the strength, dex, and quick characters get their cooldowns. On stage 3, you get a full board of block orbs. And apparently there's special blinds. I don't know if they've included that. I think on stage 2 there's special blinds. So this is where we believe Dofi's going to be really, really good for this particular super boss. So therefore we're predicting that it's a dex-based super boss. Then for the bottom right, your driven cerebral free spirit characters get cooldowns. The enemy has super type, there's a HP cut, and there's chain dependent attack down. So this is where we believe Croc is going to be very, very good for this. Obviously, as you can see, strength, dex, and quick characters get their cooldowns on one of the stages. So we do believe the bottom super, or the last super boss, will be quick. Now, as I mentioned, this is all our predictions, as we do not have information on exactly what colors they are. So stay tuned for the playthrough video. Stay tuned. I'll probably be streaming this tomorrow. And if you guys do need a little bit of help, just save your super boss tokens, save all your potions, save all your tickets, and then just wait for a couple of videos to release. So that way you guys have a bit of understanding, because it's still very ambiguous at the moment, and it is still unclear exactly what we're coming up against. So I have put together 3 teams based on my predictions, though. So for the first variation, we do believe it is a strength super boss. So Katakuri is the man you want to be using. If you don't have Katakuri, just do something like this. Now, All we need to do is just get around block badly matching odds, and that's the beautiful thing about super bosses. They don't have too many tricky shenanigans, and we're not 100% sure if they have full immunity, if they have like the gold shields, the silver shields, and all that sort of stuff. But I have sort of gone under the prediction of what I think may be coming. So ideally, you want to bring a friend Katakuri or a friend King, depending on what you're running, so that way you can get a chain boost with King, and you get an orb boost. So ideally, like, you really want to run either 2 Katakuris or you want to run 2 Kings. Like, either way, it's going to work quite nicely. The idea, though, is that you want to have a Katakuri as a super boss, like a leader. You could actually easily do this. Like, that's probably better, and then bring a friend Katakuri. That'll probably work nicer. So that way you get super class as well as super tight. And that way you can stack the two together, and it's just going to do it's going to do numbers. And do serious numbers. But with this particular team, we have King to be a chain booster, so 1.0, double damage with Kaido, the chain shenanigans with Sugar, 2.25 conditional boost with page 1 ulti, and then an attack and an orb boost class base stat boost with our Katakuri. Now, if there is full immunity, obviously we will need to take off page 1 ulti, we will need to take off Kaido. But what needs to be, the only thing that this team is actually missing is color affinity. I don't have color affinity on this team. I'm going to need to include color affinity in here somewhere. Probably over the Kaido. But I guess you could use a support for color affinity as well. Alright, so I squeezed a support for color affinity on this particular team. Whether or not it is going to be stronger than actually being a color affinity booster, that is a different story. But if Kaido, like if there's full immunity and you're going to take Kaido off or page 1 ulti off, so be it. And that way you can just bring a better color affinity booster on the team that way. You could probably slide like any quick color affinity booster will be fine. Ideally, you want them to be Driven or Powerhouse. You could even use something like Kid. He's going to be a good color affinity booster for you guys. As he boosts Driven color affinity, as long as you've got an attack and an orb boost as well. So with this team, like, there is a lot going on for it. It should have a lot of damage. I don't see it having many issues. You could probably do some shenanigans with, like, what's the name, Yamato or something like that as well. Getting some Wano slots and whatnot. But remember that Driven characters, Powerhouse characters, and Cerebral characters are getting their cooldown, so you will need to use the 6-star of Yamato. So this is the team that I have put together. You will have the full border orbs as well, thanks to page 1 ulti, as well as there's no block orb, so it really doesn't matter too much. This team should do some numbers, and like I said, we will see if we can use the conditions of page 1 ulti and Kaido as well. So the next super boss, we are predicting that it was Dex. So Dofi is going to be very, very good for this. Once again, we are using some chain shenanigans with Sugar, and we do want to bring a friend captain Kid. That way, again, we get the super classing of Kid, the super class of Dofi, and the super type of Kid. Wow, I'm getting my words mixed up today. Scuffed video. We have an attack boost with Kid, an orb boost with Kid, and then a color affinity boost with Kid. So running 2 of them is going to be really, really nice. Having Dofi as well, Dofi is going to give us the super class, which is great because we have Sugar on the team as well as Caesar. We have a chain boundary effect with Caesar, giving us, starting at, I think it's 2 times going upwards, and then a 1.4 increase to the chain, as well as a base stat boost, and then we have a conditional boost with our Mihawk and Prona. Now, I'm not 100% sure if Mihawk Prona is the best conditional booster. We might take them off for page 1 ulti, provided it works, but if it doesn't, we are just going to scrap them completely. This team has everything that you need. Like, it actually has everything. There's no other way to, like, make this stronger besides, like, trying to squeeze Wano orbs onto it. Like, that's the only other way I can think of to make it a little bit stronger. And if, for whatever reason, if Mihawk Prona doesn't work, I will probably just slide Odin onto the team, like, just because, literally just to get those Wano slots. So, this team's going to do numbers. This team's not going to have any issues whatsoever. Dofi's an absolute weapon. He's probably, like, my favorite legend in the game, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Croc, but I really, really love this Dofi. Finally, the last super boss is we're predicting to be Quick. So, a Dex team is the way to go. And this one is the one that I sort of had trouble with building. There is a chain, like, attack down with the chain coefficient. So, you really want to bring a friend Croc and then build the team around Cerebral. But Cerebrals really struggle for orb boosters, man. Like, they really don't have too many orb boosters. I do have Dofi on this particular team again for the base stat boost and the chain boost. Because we have a friend captain, we're going to bring a friend captain Law. That way we get the 1.5 extra damage. Actually, that's something that this team's missing, the extra damage. which we could probably slide on instead of Odin. That's probably going to do better instead of the what's it called? The Mihawk and Perona. And Law will trigger the super typing as well if you don't have Sugar or you don't have Caesar. Super class, sorry. But for this team, as I was saying, there's not a lot of, like, Cerebrals that have a very good orb boost besides, like, Vivi. Vivi's only got 2 times orb boost, so, like, it's quite low. So I did use the Zoro. Zoro will also trigger the super typing for the friend captain Law. Then Law has the extra damage. You get the 2.75 times attack instead of the 2.5 with Croc. Croc does the chain boundary from 3 times going upwards. You have base stat for driven characters with Dofi, which is going to be great for Croc and for Zoro, as well as the chain boost. And then we have color affinity to our cerebral characters and our fighter characters with Sanji and Pudding, which is then going to make our Law, Croc, and Sanji Pudding hit very hard. So it's a bit of a janky team. It's not exactly full synergized, but it does have like a lot of synergy across the board with a lot of stuff that is going on. So it should do okay, but again, stay tuned for the playthrough video just to make sure that this is what's actually going on. I will try and get that out as soon as possible for you guys, but I do have to work as well, so I will have to sort of work around that as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this absolutely scuffed video. It was actually quite tricky to put this together, purely because we just don't exactly know what is coming and what exactly is going on. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless, and if you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit that big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!